Have I got a story for you all? Now, as some of you know, I made a point of letting my import permit for Mexico expire so that I could afford to go back to Canada. And this whole mess has very little to do with that. That's later. But what happened? Okay, so I'm in Canada and I'm doing all my final paperwork stuff, and I go into like the registry office. Now, like these people, now the registry office in my town is a privately owned office. So these people make profit filing government paperwork. Okay? So I go in there and I'm like, okay, I need to renew this plate. That is already valid. I just need to renew it. And they said, okay, we need Canadian insurance. And yeah. And, oh yeah, because I said I got to renew the bike that's in Mexico. She said, okay, we need Canadian insurance and we just can't do it because your bike's not in the country. And I'm just like, oh. And, you know, I'm at this government filing office, and part of me is like, okay, well, if that's what these people say, they're obviously the authority in the area for this kind of knowledge. So that seems right. Okay, so I can't register my bike in Canada. And then they recommend I got a Mexican license plate. Groovy. So I hop on the plane, I fly down to Mexico with all my stuff, everything but basically a valid sticker for my bike. And I go to ask some people about this Mexican license plate situation, and they look at me like a deer in the headlights. Because apparently you have to be like a full-blown citizen to get a car here. So not only is it just like I won't have a license plate for Mexico, but I phoned back to Canada, to this time like not a privately owned office, and said, hey, so I got this motorcycle in Mexico with expired plates, can I renew it? And then they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, the ladies at my hometown said that, you know, it just can't be done. And then she just laughed. The lady fucking laughed. She's like, no, that's just not true, man. Like, there's snowbirds do this all the time. So great, what do I need? It's like, okay, you need to fill out a permission slip, essentially, so that my dad back in Canada could do all this for me. Thank you. And the bill of sale. Oh, and the form had to be original copy. So I find this form, and because I'm out of the country, the PDF wouldn't open. So I had to get the form open in Canada, emailed back to me, finally printed off, filled out an original, and took the original bill of sale for my bike and mailed it through FedEx back to Canada. So it got there pretty smooth. That cost, I think, was like $40 to mail it north. And then, so, that happened. And then Dad goes in and goes to fill it in, and they're like, oh, or as it's in the mail, that's what it was. As it was in the mail, my mom gives me a text message and says, hey, I found your registration papers. They're valid until 2016. They were in my purse. 2016? See, now, what she's telling me is they sent me replacement valid up-to-date papers in the mail. It's really wet out here, man. Anyway, valid up-to-date papers in the mail. And so when I had went to registries, if they had just tried, gave me like 2 seconds of effort, they would have said, oh, you're already valid. You should have these. Oh, that is some beautiful customer service. Thank you for your help. That didn't happen. Anyway, so I'm going to stop playing in a second. So now we have valid papers. So now there's FedEx coming from BC back to Alberta, and mine's going to, so that Dad can get all of these little pieces of government squiggles on dead trees in the same pile at the same time, so that he could take them to those people that do important government paperwork and don't understand the functionality of it, to ultimately pay, I think it was like $40 to get the sticker that we lost. Fair. Alright, fair. So, lesson learned. If somebody ever tries to tell you that you cannot register a previously registered vehicle outside of the country, they're lying. If they try to tell you that you can get a plate in another country, you can't. You can't. Okay, so that is lesson learned, and anybody watching this who's thinking about doing this, have a valid plate, because even though they encourage people to bribe the police here, it's a pain in the ass. So just pay a little bit early and skip all that hassle later. Okay? Because, yeah, I've been sitting here for 2 months. Oh, and the rest of the story. So, finally, it's all done. Dad's got all the valid stickers and stamps in the same pile. And he sticks them in the envelope for FedEx and goes to mail itself. And they wanted $130 to send it back. It was $42 to send it north. So that's first world problems right there. So he drives to Red Deer to actually get FedEx to do it, and I think it was like $80, but still double. And you know, it's my dad. So I'm on this thing, and he's like, "Oh, just before I send that, here, I'm gonna put $40 in it." Now, it is legally permissible for a person to carry up to $10,000 cash over a border without having to claim any of it. So I could get on an airplane with $9,999 in my pocket and import that much money into the country and nobody blinks an eye. Apparently, if you put $40 in an envelope and try to mail it across the border, they stop it at customs. You can't mail money. And that's another one, like, I don't know. Did you know? No. But now you know. So don't mail money over borders. They won't let you. So out of that, I ended up waiting a full week for customs to release it, which was like, took me 2 or 3 days to realize that it happened, and then I sent them a bunch of emails, and they literally ignored it, customer service, until the sender sent them an email, and they answered that within 15 minutes and got it like, okay, so what happened? They cut it open, they took the cash out, went to the cantina, taped it shut, and sent it off. So I'm like, okay, great, yeah, it's finally over. Now, I was getting it sent to a mailbox of some friends of ours that live in condos south of town. And they have had FedEx specific packages sent there to this address as written many times. So why did I get an email that said that they don't know where it's going? I don't know. Probably because this whole infinite circle of me hating paperwork just wants to keep kicking me in the ass until it doesn't bother me anymore. And I gotta tell you, it's getting close. It's getting close. Because I did see The Martian lately. It's pretty cool. But he had a little, it was just like you wake up and you have a problem in front of you. And you solve that problem. And that leads on to the next problem that you can solve, and the next problem, and the next problem, and the next problem. As long as you keep moving forward, working on whatever comes next, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. So, I get the email that says that they don't know where it's going. So now I send them a couple emails and say, okay, get it to the sort facility and hold for pickup. I'll go get it. I don't care. I'm tired of having one-of-a-kind original registration documents sitting in the mailbox, and I have no control over the situation. So they held it for pickup in Cancun. A couple more days. It's in Cozumel. I went. I got it. I have it. It's done. Okay. My license plate has a little yellow 1/6 sticker on it, and is officially belongs to the Queen of England, so it's insured if it gets messed with. Great. Now I got to figure out the TVIP thing. And as far as I know, it's literally just, I got to get a permission slip that says you can take this vehicle to the next border crossing. Should be straightforward. I hope.